Okay, I'm going to try not to be on here too long. I want to comment on Boosie Badass and his daughter coming out as a lesbian. Now, a lot of people were saying it was karma. But before I get to that, and I'm not going to be on this too long, but before I get to this, I want to comment on Tasha K interview with the mother of the teen that Larry Reid allegedly had touched. I listened to that interview and I think that woman was in denial. I think she put the church ahead of her son. I think a lot of what she was saying, I don't believe she was telling the truth because she knew it was making her look bad, like she neglected her son and that she put the church and Larry Reid over her son. That's what I believe happened. Now, there was a situation that I had to deal with when my oldest son was about 14, 15 years old at this particular church that I attended. And there was a guy there, an older guy, that had feminine traits, okay? And they put him over the young people. Now, they had a camp, so I didn't know that he was over the young boys in this particular camp. Well, when my son came home one day, he was telling me about this dude that, was making moves on him. This older cat, right? And this is a grown man. So I went to the church looking for him. And I think this is how all fathers and even mothers should deal with situations like this. I'm not politically correct, okay? And those of you that had watched my videos for a while, you should already know and have an idea that I don't tolerate mess like that. I'm a lot like Boosie Badass, okay? I don't agree with that lifestyle. I don't tolerate it, not one bit. I don't play around with it, okay? And I would have never put my son in the path of someone that lived that lifestyle. Well, when I got the word from my son's mother, I went to the church looking for this dude. When I got there, he wasn't there. And I left a message for him with the pastor. And I told the pastor of that church, I said, listen, I don't play that mess. I said, let him know that when it comes to my sons, I will put a bullet in his head. Straight like that. In the church, I said, I will put a bullet in his head because I don't play with that mess. And I don't appreciate him coming at my son like that. Okay? So the pastor looked a little shook. From that point on, never had an issue with that individual. And I'm sure the word got back to that person. Okay? So I personally don't play around with that nonsense. I don't support it. And I don't play with it. I don't play around with people that's like that. I don't be hee and ha and all friendly. That's not me. And unfortunately, there's people that don't have that discernment, like this woman, that Tasha K, and I give a shout out to Tasha K for that interview. This woman is the kind of mother that put the ministry over her son. And Larry Reid, he knew what he was doing when he sent that mother away. He gave her a job, took her mind off of her son, okay, gave her a position. And that happens more often in the church than you could ever imagine. All right? So he just kind of like kept the moms busy so he can have his way with her son. And when you listen to her talk and the questions that Tasha K was asking her, this woman was in denial. She kept saying, we I really didn't want to know. I didn't want to believe it was true, and because she had so much faith and confidence in Larry Reid. But the minute she saw him or met him, she should have known what type of person he was because of his spirit, just because of his personality and how he carried himself. She should have known that he was. The minute people started talking and she started hearing about that, that's when she should have backed away. You don't submit your spirit to that, because whether you realize it or not, you take on the spirit of that church. You ever go to church and you see everybody seem like they have the same spirit? You actually take on the spirit of that pastor. All right? When you join or link yourself to a church, become a member, and you're there Sunday after Sunday, Bible study, choir rehearsal, usher, whatever position you hold in the church, you actually take on the spirit of that pastor. Okay? So you have to be extra careful on who you submit your spirit to. Right? And she submitted herself to him. She submitted her spirit to Larry Reid while he had his way with her teenage son. Okay? But this woman, I don't think she was telling the truth. She was lying. And she wasn't telling the whole truth. She knew exactly what was going on. And she didn't want to believe what was happening to her son. And she actually believed Larry Reid more than she did her own child. And like I said, when I had that issue, man, I don't play with it. And everybody that knew me in church knew exactly where I stood. They knew exactly where I stood. They knew I don't play with it. I don't play with those spirits. I don't do that. All right? But when it comes to Boosie Badazz'S, there's a lot of people that's laughing. Demons are like laughing. See, they're saying that what happened to him was karma. What happened to Boosie Badazz'S is not karma. It's spiritual warfare, right? Because when you enter into the realm of spiritual warfare, whether you in church or not, whether you're spiritual or not, when you enter into the realm of spiritual warfare and you're like adamant and preaching against that satanic agenda, guess what? Somebody in your family member might end up that way. You may have problems in your home. You may have problems in your finances. You're going to have problems. The devil's going to come at you where you're the weakest. Okay? And Boosie Badazz'S, his weakness is his daughter. And I think that's his youngest daughter, if I'm not mistaken. His weakness is his kids. Right? So while he's out there preaching against, all these strangers, and he never said, he's against the lifestyle, but he always said, look, if that's what you want to do, you do it, but don't involve the kids. Don't put the kids in there. Don't change the child's sexuality. Don't put them through that surgery or whatever. Right? That's what he said. And the question was asked, well, what if your kids? And he said, I would still love them. He don't agree with it, but he would still love them. I'm a little different with that. And I've always been the kind of person that if my sons ever came out, love my son to life. But if one of my sons ever came out and told me that was their lifestyle, want nothing to do with them, I'd back away from them, because I refuse to invite that spirit into my house. Because if I accept him, in that condition, and then his friend comes over with him and they touching and hugging and I can't tolerate that. I cannot tolerate that in my presence, in my home. I could not do that. So you stay out there with that mess, right? Don't bring that mess here. I won't have anything to do with him. I wouldn't. I would love him to life. If he needs help, he fall in there, I'll be there to help him out, but we can't, there's no relationship there. That's when I separate myself from him. That's how I am. Okay? And I'm very strict and adamant when it comes to that. So Boosie, he still accepts his daughter, and now you got demons celebrating, making videos and laughing at him, saying that this is karma. Oh, it's karma. He's got to take care of his household. He's too busy talking about somebody else's household. His own daughter is this way. That's demonic activity, man. They're celebrating and rejoicing that happened to his daughter. All right? But again, it's not karma. It's spiritual warfare. You know? So whatever you preach against, man, the devil is going to come to you. You know? It may be sickness. He may bring sickness on your body. You know, especially when you have faith in the Most High. You know? The Bible says that those who live godly must suffer persecution. And you don't know what direction that persecution is coming from. And 9 times out of 10, the devil is going to bring things through those that's close to you. Those that can get to you, those are the ones that they target. Right? So you have to remain strong, stand fast in the profession of your faith, regardless of what you go through. And there's a saying that I always used to say, and I still hold firm to that: for God I live, for God I die. Okay? Before I give myself over to that kingdom, that satanic, that wretched, that dark kingdom. All right? So it's a warfare, you know? And again, you gotta stand fast, unmovable, always abide in the work of God. You know, you have to stand still, man. You have to stand firm and grounded, regardless of what you go through, and even those around you. It's just like in the book of Job, right? When he was going through, he lost his children, right? And his friends were laughing at him. His wife told him, like, curse your God and die, right? But he was willing to sacrifice all of that to hold on to his faith. He did not charge God foolishly. And in the end, God blessed him with a whole lot more than he had in the beginning. You know, see, because when we come in this world, we come in this world alone and by ourselves. When we leave this world alone and by ourselves. And there's a lot of people that brought children into the world. And these children tried to take them out, tried to harm them. The child was more of a curse to them than a blessing. So that person still have to die alone with that hurt in their heart. But see, regardless of what you go through in life, you have to stand fast. You have to stand grounded, you know, and not allow trials and tribulations. You know, you can only do so much in this physical body, right? But the battle is the Lord's. You just remain faithful unto death. So, Boosie Badazz'S, that wasn't karma. It's a spiritual warfare, you know. And of course, the demons are they're gonna rejoice, they're gonna celebrate, they're gonna laugh, they're gonna mock him and scorn him or whatnot. You know, he said it, and they did the same thing to Jesus when he was on the cross. There was those mockers and scoffers at the foot of the cross saying, "He saved others. Why don't he save himself? You know, come down off the cross." They were saying this to the man, right? So the same thing applies today. Those same spirits, still exist today, and they operate in flesh. See, demons or unclean spirits need a body to function on this plane. See, they just can't be invisible. They need a body to function in this plane. And if they can't get a body, guess what? They will use an animal. You know, this situation, man, where animals will attack them. The cat, the dogs. They would just attack you, want to harm you. The same person that feed them. So, we're in a spiritual warfare. Has nothing to do with karma. And you can laugh all you want, but you will be the last one to laugh. Right? Laugh now, right? And cry later. So feedback, tell me what you think until next time. I'm fearless.